So I'm feeling pissed. It's funny, I don't even really let myself be angry very easily. I don't want to be angry, but I think sometimes it's necessary. It's called for, it's legitimate, and when it comes up, I feel a lot of conflict about it. I feel more conflict than I should feel about it, because I think of things that I'm trying to address about my early conditioning and programming, being raised by a woman and gaslit about my emotions and not given training essentially about how, as a man, to deal with those energies, that natural inclination to stand up for myself. That definitely was the case early on. I did not stand up for myself. I was bullied, and my response was to shut down. And that was very harmful to me. Even still at this age that I'm at, almost 50 years old, and I recognize that still exists in me. It's never really been resolved. I've grown stronger for sure. I've grown more confident in feeling my feelings and expressing them. I mean, I definitely am trying to figure out how to express them in a constructive way. And so I do believe that as I am doing my spiritual practice and I'm channeling more energy through the internal circuitry, that it highlights the areas that need evolution, the areas that are stuck in the past. And I think the universe is in on it, right? That it will make synchronicities happen. It will make things happen that bring that up. And the first part of my day was great. I had my nice meditation. I'm feeling like in the zone. I'm feeling clear and tuned in, creative. And then I walked by this house next door to me that has been a problem. It's a derelict building, and there's drug addicts, homeless people that squat there, that hang out there, they do drugs there, they leave all their garbage there, they make a mess of it. There's graffiti on the walls of the building. The buildings had to be boarded up because people were squatting inside of it, changed the locks, were living inside of it. And it is against the law for them to just hang out there. And I asked them to move along. And one of them was very rude to me, was saying all sorts of things, like behaving in a really disgusting, idiotic way. And I said, no, this is my neighborhood. I live right here. I'm part of the community block watch. I don't care about your opinion about me. You need to go. And yeah, he was just being completely obnoxious, and I was like trembling with rage. And those kind of situations really, it's very difficult for me. Instead of being able to be completely strong and assertive, it's like this kind of stuttering, this kind of nervousness, because part of me really wanted to punch his lights out, and another part is feeling scared. I mean, it's not rational. I was way bigger than this guy, and I mean, there was 3 of them, but they're homeless addicts. Like, I'm sure I could do more damage to them than to me. I'm healthy and strong. So I walked away and I called the cops, and they carried on. They took off because I told them I was going to call the cops. But the reverberation of that through me was, I'm still angry. I'm still furious, right, about it. Like, again, kind of fantasies of violence. And it's not the healthy thing. The healthy thing would be just deal with it in that moment. Honestly, they deserve to be punched. When you're when you're just telling vagrants like, move, you're not to be here, move along, and they are abusive, that's not okay. So I want to be able to deal with that in the moment and then move on and not have it like reverberate through my nervous system. But it is because of my past where I would feel emotional upset with no outlet, zero outlet, gaslit for feeling upset and angry. And no men in my life teaching me how to fight or teaching me how to stand up for myself, how to be strong and assertive. The men in my life were weak, passive aggressive, and turned to alcohol as something to ameliorate those feelings. And see, I don't think that this kind of progressive approach to, this anti-patriarchy approach is the right approach. No, it's not. It's not like, oh, cry about it. No, you need to be strong in the moment. You need to be able to be the jerk or the asshole or whatever. You need to call upon that kind of energy to meet that energy. That's what men need to be able to do, and not have the emotions at play in that situation or at all. After it's done, you don't cry about it. How's that? That's stupid. You deal with it and then you move on. So again, it's like I feel like I'm trying to unravel this Gordian knot of mind fuckery, because it's not like one side or the other. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about dealing with that energy. Like there's the emotion, I think, comes out of a frustration, of a not being able to take action, right? It's an inappropriate outlet of that energy. I think for men, we're supposed to take action and then leave it. In the past, yeah, there was men were told that they can't have emotion. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying have that emotion in the moment. Be furious with the people who deserve your fury. Otherwise, it gets put onto other people. And obviously that's wrong. Or the other option is you internalize it, which is what I have done. It's been directed against myself. And so I think, so my dad and my brother, who were addicts, they turned it against themselves. I mean, my brother turns it on other people as well. And my dad has done this kind of like explosive anger out of nowhere. And I mean, the same with my mom too. Like her ability to navigate her emotions is not healthy as well, because hers are very repressed. She doesn't want to talk about things. She doesn't want to, she stops herself from crying, but also is very passive aggressive and emotional, but not honest about it. My whole family, everybody I look at, it's like, wow, fucked up. I feel like I was the only one that was saying, like, trying to examine things and call out things. And I believe that I was not projecting. I was just pointing out things, and I was mostly, I generally speak from myself. I think as an Aries, that's like, I'm kind of, it is kind of about me, but because Aries is the first sign, it's not this like highly developed ego. It's the infant. Everything feels personal. So I think it's kind of actually one of the least egotistical signs. The ego is like developing, and then it's not until like really Aquarius that it starts to be sublimated. Capricorn is very, confident in itself. And then moving into Aquarius, then it becomes distributed and dissolved in Pisces. But in Aries, it's just newborn, so it's quite permeable, like it's quite sensitive to things. But it's also not so rigid that it's inflexible, that it's not so different from Libra, because they're two ends of the same thing, essentially, where there's this profound kind of relationship between self and other. And I have always felt that, but like I've taken things personally, and then when I speak, and this is what my family has kind of faulted me for, is like that I'm saying it like it is, like I'm too authoritarian or something like that. That they've not said that, because they only have been passive aggressive with me. They've never been clear, like, when you do this, I feel this. They don't talk that way, and they don't have that self-awareness. So this event really kind of, triggered me. But again, like, I think these things are coming up to show me things that I am activating them. But so what's it saying? It's like, I want to be able to respond in that moment. I want to be able to clock that dude. Tell him, like, I don't need to tell him anything, because telling doesn't, no, I want to take action. And that's really what it boils down to. And that's, I think, where we're at. The time of intellectualizing things, whatever, it's not working. Then after that, I was driving, and I saw some person driving totally recklessly, like whizzed past me so fast, and then tailgated somebody in front of them to like drive faster, right? Because they wanted to drive faster. They were driving so fast and reckless, and then weaving, and they had a N. They're a brand new driver. This kind of selfish, like, I don't think selfish is even the word, just like stupid, inconsiderate behavior. Like, that person deserves to be dragged out of their fucking car and have the shit kicked out of them. They could murder somebody driving like that. Like the video that I made yesterday, I feel like we need to revert to more of an authoritarian structure. And it's like something is gelling in my mind, and it's kind of a fearful thing in a way, because it's like it's the very thing that for many years I was like apprehensive about this like one world government and authoritarian structure, and everything that we see about the CCP being scary, right? Like cameras watching you if you jaywalk or if you spit on the street or whatever. I'm feeling now like people deserve that. People are acting like fucking imbeciles, and they need like one swift backhand or more. All the con artists, all the criminals, all the disrespectful people, like, there's only one way out of this. And that is, there's only one way that we're gonna have a civil society where people aren't throwing their garbage on the ground. When we had culture that was creating that, right? So a Christian nation where there was this morality, in places where there is a morality that glues kind of people together and says this is the way to behave, and children are taught that from an early age. We don't have that anymore, and that's a problem. We don't have this standard that's taught. Children are learning how to behave from social media influencers that are all about like a race to the bottom of behavior, like the most extreme, stupid, ignorant, sensational behavior. And children are learning from this, and many adults behave like children. So many people are so immature and have abhorrent behavior, greedy, narcissistic, and it seems like we need a solution to this, and it seems like the only one is to establish a very rigid kind of new agreement that's enforced, that punishes those who don't uphold those standards, and some monitoring system, because the police aren't doing a very good job of it. Maybe in the past, when most people were self-governed, right, they were able to, most people were well behaved, and now it seems like most people are poorly behaved. They don't know their head from their asshole. They don't know how to behave properly. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't even fucking know how to feed themselves. And so it's just, everything is a mess. Like when you're living on McDonald's, your brain's not going to function properly. When you're playing video games all day and smoking weed, your brain's not going to function properly. And it's like all of the people who were from a time when there was a more strict code, a more homogeneous society, a Christian nation, they're pretty much all dead. The boomers are like the last vestiges of that, and they're going to be gone pretty soon too. It seems like it's by design, like that there will be this kind of society that desperately needs AI, cops, surveillance state, control. It's weird. It's weird. I mean, I don't think I need it because I have a moral compass, because I have taken the time. I have the intellect. I don't know exactly what makes me different, but I would never behave the way I see a lot of people behaving. Some people call other people NPCs. I don't like that idea, because I think it won't ever feel good that somebody is beyond redemption, like that they're a throwaway person. Not that I don't have those feelings, like I would like to throw away some people. I feel that. But I think, if I ruled the world, what would happen to those guys who were behaving badly is they get picked up, they get thrown in a cell, they get told, they would get a warning that and tracked somehow, that if they were seen or observed or whatever to be behaving poorly again, there would be some punishment, sent to a work camp or something like that. Like, yeah, 3 strikes and you're out. 3 strikes and you're digging coal in a mine or something. There needs to be some kind of punishment for bad behavior. Otherwise, you punish everybody else. You punish the people that are behaving appropriately. And this is the idea of freedom when you're living amongst other people is kind of an erroneous thing. I think that we need to really figure out how that structure works, like who's at the top and who decides what the rules are. We obviously need to design something that can be audited and ensure that it's free of corruption. I don't know how we do that, but I don't think that it's impossible to create systems. I mean, so if we're thinking like, okay, well, instead of judges, instead of politicians, have AI. I mean, obviously very well designed AI that is able to be transparent about how it's making decisions. But I think that there's a good chance it's going to do a better job than a lot of humans. If AI can look at all of the history of judgments and weigh all these things in like moments, it's going to be more impartial than some woke liberal judge that's installed by a politician. And also, it could be a system that has like a lot of checks and balances that are happening very quick. You have like a council of AIs with different weights and different things, and then they come to a summary judgment. They come to some conclusion. And it can happen in minutes. Seems to me that it would be much better to have that than politicians. I think in an ideal system, there's still humans involved, but those humans should be recycled. Like, almost like if there's people that are taken from the public of different socioeconomic placements, and like jury, where a variety of people are brought into that judicial system that's mostly automated, but they're overseeing some of it, and then they're giving feedback. They're saying, oh, that doesn't seem fair. And if 9 out of 10 say that, oh, that AI judgment seemed really off, then okay, well, maybe it needs to be reviewed. But clearly our system is broken right now. And I'm willing, I don't think that techno-communism is necessarily the answer, but we need to consider an integration of some of that. And if the average person isn't participating in that conversation, like how do we respond to the evolving technology and the degradation of our civilization? Because that is fucking happening. That it absolutely is. If the average person isn't participating, then it's not going to reflect actually human values. It's going to reflect the 1% that want to exploit. Because the people that are drawn to those places of power, they often reflect that kind of narcissistic attitude. Like, I think that actually I would be good in government. Like when I look around at my town and I have this impulse to improve it. Like, I wish that I could participate in improving it. But honestly, I'm not really motivated to get into politics. I don't have a desire for that system or that power, any of that. I just want things to be better. I think that I would find it really hard to actually deal with the bureaucracy of it all. I think that the people that get involved, they are often egotistical, narcissistic people, and they want power and control and the opportunity to benefit themselves and their friends. So somehow we need to change that so that it's like, take the money out of politics. And I don't know, how do we do that? I think that it's like dismantling this edifice that's been in place for a long time. And I think that technology could do that, but the people that are building the technology are those very same people. So again, the average person needs to participate and be involved. It's like, it's going to be Pareto distribution. Most people are sheep-like, and I don't think most people are like me, where they're like, I don't want to be part of the system because I want to follow my spiritual bliss, follow my spiritual path, and deal with my karma. I don't think most people are doing that. They're just not very evolved. They are kind of NPCs. They're just going with the lazy approach, and they're playing video games, and they're thinking about, I don't know what they're thinking. They don't seem to be thinking much. My neighbor who lets their dogs bark and 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 bark. How do you not think probably other people are bothered by this constant dog barking? How do you just not be aware of that? Again, this is just a very simple example, but to me, it just is so evident of this kind of thing. When I'm walking behind somebody, I see them walking ahead of me, and they drop garbage. They just drop it, whether intentionally or not, and then they look and they see it, and then they just keep walking. I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how you can rationalize that. It's so simple to just pick it up, put it in your pocket, and there's garbage cans. When you're in the next place, everywhere's got a garbage can. Like, do you like looking around and seeing garbage everywhere? The garbage cans outside of my building that I put my garbage in, there's homeless people and they go through it and they spread the garbage out on the ground. I've spoken to several of them, and I'm not rude. I'm saying, please don't spread the garbage all over. Oh no, I never do that. Well, somebody does regularly. And honestly, if I saw a person doing that, I would feel angry and violent towards them, that they're so inconsiderate. I don't think it's fair that it's put on me to feel those feelings, that I have to be the police of the neighborhood. Like, I'm not getting paid to do that. There are people that are getting paid to do that. There are administrators. There are people getting paid a lot of money. If you're a police officer, you're making like $100,000 a year probably. If you're even a city clerk, you're probably making $70,000 a year. There's this, like, I don't know what they are. They're like community policing. They're not police, but they're community liaison or whatever. And I saw 2 vehicles with several of these people, and they were dealing with some homeless people. Well, they were talking to them. There's this young guy that I've seen. He's got his meth pipe. He's lying on the ground. He's out in the cold. He's lingering around in this residential neighborhood. And, I spoke to him one time. And then afterwards, I come back and I see he's still in the same spot, but he's got a box of donuts. These community policing people, who are paid for by the city taxpayers, like 4 of them on the job, like 4 all clumped together. Like, how much is that costing? They're probably making $25 an hour each, $100 an hour to go around and hand out donuts to the crackheads who are lying on the sidewalk. That's the approach. That's not even touching upon the fact that within my neighborhood, there are 3 different places that hand out drugs to people, that you can just go and get free drugs. The insanity of it blows my mind. Like, it has to be by design. It has to be, how can people think this is a good idea? The good idea would be to take those people that are having problems and use a tough love approach. Offer them rehab. If they don't choose that, if they insist on being vagrants and being a burden to society, put them in a work camp. Honestly, that's how I feel about it. That's where it's come to. Give them the humanitarian approach at first, but if they don't respond to that, tough love. Otherwise, you are impacting other people's basic the people that are contributing to society, the people that are working, paying taxes, raising their kids, building society, being constructive. Now it's their burden. They go out and find their garbage all over the place, or their vehicle broken into, which I've had my vehicle broken into. And as I say, makes me very angry. If I was, I don't know, it's like I feel between a rock and a hard place, and I think many people feel this feeling. But so what do people do about it? They tune out. They turn. That's why the weed stores are so popular. That's why the video games and social media and all the tuning out, because people are so frustrated, especially the men. The men who it's our natural inclination to like do stuff, but we're told that we're toxic, that the stuff that we want to do, which is like the hard stuff, the stuff that kind of goes against the grain sometimes, because I don't think most people don't want to be violent. Most people don't want to be angry, but sometimes it's necessary when there's jackasses that are, if there's some little old lady walking down the sidewalk and she's got to like step over, move around these this like riffraff that are like lying passed out on the sidewalk. Her tax dollars have paid for their drugs and their new clothes, and they're like to take care of them just so that they can be losers. It's fucked. It's totally wrong. And as we know, liberal women will perpetuate this. This kind of feminist, progressive attitude is actually what has created this problem. And also men being weak, men capitulating and being led by the nose by these kind of policies. Weak men, where Trudeau with his fancy socks, like who gives a fuck? That's nice hair and fancy socks is not what we need from leadership. This is why we have Trump. This is why Trump is popular, because he actually has this masculine trait of doing what's necessary. And it's at this point, it needs to be brutal. It needs to be harsh because it's gone too far. And for somebody like me, who is very sensitive, has been at least very kind of on the feminine spectrum as far as being into art and being not into sports, not into hunting, not into any of that stuff. Now I'm finding myself aligning more and more and more and more with this kind of conservative, macho, aggressive feelings, like something's got to be done. I don't even have like children and a wife to protect.